I don't know who told men that communication and making a woman repeat herself over and over again about the exact same thing that he ain't never going to change is the same thing, because it's not. In fact, I would say this, sisters, forgiving a man in silence and never speaking to him again is a form of self-care. You are preserving your energy. You are protecting the integrity around your investment into even caring whether or not he understands you. The words that you speak, you're preserving the value on those words whenever you say, I'm only going to give them to you if you're actually going to receive them. And at some point, I'm going to draw that line. Even the Bible says, don't cast your pearls among swine. Basically, don't give something so valuable to somebody who's already wasting it, thinking that giving them even more is the solution, because it's not. I'm a big fan of, hey, once somebody shows you they're not on the same level, they don't have the emotional competence to understand you, your only job there is to stop talking, because they'll burn you out. This goes both ways. I'm using this in context of a man doing this and a woman or whatever, because that's the context in which I'm getting it. You know, I was actually talking to one of my Self-Crown VIP members the other day. We have our lives every week. And she asked me how she should retell this man that she's not cool with him calling up to her job, always having a problem, always finding a reason to basically just blow things up, get her angry and mess up her whole workday. And then it seemed like she felt bad because he still didn't get it. And I said, sis, there's a difference between you didn't say it and he chose not to listen. There's a difference. Just because somebody don't understand you, they ain't hear you the first, second, third, fifth time, that don't mean the onus, the responsibility is still on you to communicate. And I want my communication enthusiasts to be aware of this, because a lot of times a dude will leverage your emotional intelligence against you. How? He'll leverage it against you by saying, okay, you know, the healthy components of a relationship is to communicate, and therefore you need to do that, or else you're the reason why we're having this conflict. You're the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. You're the real problem here, not what I'm doing. So he'll leverage your emotional intelligence of knowing communication matters. How you resolve conflict is to talk things through, right? He'll leverage that against you as if you're responsible for continuing to do the thing he has not been receptive of. And that's why I say, forgiving him for whatever it is he's done wrong, silently to yourself, and just deciding you're never going to speak to him again, that is a solution. A lot of times these dudes are waiting for you to blow up and argue or create drama with you, and you know, all of these things. They want to be able to paint you as crazy, want you to fight for closure and beg for explanations or demand an apology he'll never give. But what if I told you the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing? Just forgive him quietly, block him completely, and disappear from his narrative forever. You do not owe him your anger, sis. You don't owe him your energy. You don't owe him an explanation after you've already communicated. The man who damaged you does not deserve access to your healing process. And don't think that is you running away, because that's what they'll try to reverse psychologically convince you of. Oh, you running away from conversation. You just don't want to talk. You just don't want to. No, that is not a sign of weakness whenever you are silent. It's honestly the most ultimate sign of power. You're not avoiding confrontation. You're avoiding contamination. If that makes sense to you, put facts down in the comments. If that makes sense to you, put facts down in the comments. And I'm going to go ahead and put this link here, because a lot of y'all have a soul tie, and that's the reason why you feel like you just need to communicate one more time and explain one more time and try one more time. But no, you do not have to. And the soul tie, the whole reason why I said the soul tie is because whenever it feels like your empathy is overriding your standards, when it feels like your understanding is kind of negating your standards, like you being understanding of him and everything he's going through was allowing him to put you through even more, there may be a soul tie that's keeping you there. When you think about how you go into dating now and it's completely changed since that guy broke your heart, even though you don't want him anymore, there may be a soul tie. Matter of fact, let me go on and say, there is a soul tie still there. I haven't talked to him in years, D. I don't care nothing about him. Okay, you don't care nothing about him. But if he has still impacted the way that you see the world, yourself, men that you could possibly be with, in that way is now dictating your relationship decisions, your dating tolerance, that is a soul tie. A lot of people think they got to heal. You might just have a soul tie that you need to break. I put the link down there to the masterclass where I really went in depth on this topic because it's extremely important. I think a lot of people don't like to talk about this. A lot of people think soul ties don't exist. They do. Comment soul tie if you want me to send you this masterclass for free. But back to what I was saying, because I really want to speak to the women out there who are communicators. You have talked. And what a dude would try to do is get your eyes to light up whenever he's now ready to listen. After he's already ignored you over and over again. Now he's ready to hear what you got to say, and he has something to say, and they'll leverage your desire for that aspect of a healthy relationship, but it's really manipulative. And that's why I say, no, use silence. Silence after a man's betrayal is going to speak louder than any conversation ever could. Not explaining yourself to somebody who's proven they don't deserve explanations. That's peak self-respect. Your absence from his drama is going to create more impact than your presence in his chaos. I want y'all to understand that because we treat it like it's a job where we should give a 2 weeks notice. But you know what? And I always got my thoughts about that, but this ain't an entrepreneurial conversation. But just like a job would drop you in a heartbeat. God forbid, something happen to you today, they'll get a new person in there tomorrow. Like, you don't owe nobody no 2-week explanation for something you've given 2 months, 2 years, telling them what you need over and over again in a relationship context. Now I'm talking about relationships again. So you don't owe this man no 4-page letter after you've already been explaining to him, talking to him, being gracious with him, being forgiving and all these different things. Like, what do you mean? Like, he's basically making it your responsibility that he never took you seriously. That's what he's doing. No. A lot of dudes, they go through these relationships and they hurt you and they do all this stuff. And it's like, you know what? They expecting you to call and text and show up to their door demanding answers. But when you just instead vanish, like as if y'all never happened, no angry text messages, no social media stalking, no mutual friend interrogations, your complete disappearance from his world is the loudest statement you can make about his irrelevance to your future. January, love from over here too. Love from where I'm in Dallas, Texas. Love Louisiana. But understand the power of silence. Sometimes silence is the only boundary somebody can respect. And it don't mean you ain't forgiving him because, you know, you handling things this way and you're not going to talk again to somebody who's already closed their ears. It don't mean that you acting out of spite. You can forgive that man and still leave him peacefully. No conversation, no closure. Forgiveness does not require his participation. Forgiveness is an inside job that locks him out permanently. It don't mean he gets more access to you because you forgave him. That's like, I'll never forgive him. No, you can forgive him. To forgive is just to release. It's not to repeat another situation with him. Forgive is just to release. That's all it is. Yeah, I see the trolls in here. Let them troll. Matter of fact, let's make the trolls even more mad. If you see what I'm saying and you know that what I'm saying is true, find a little arrow down here and hit the share button. I need 10 people to do that. We're going to piss some trolls off. We're going to spread. If you know what I'm saying is true now, and only if you feel like what I'm saying so far is true, because we got more. But find a little arrow down there, hit the share button, and let me know you share so I can shout you out. Got the trolls to thank for that because they can't beat me up. I can fight. So they just going to be mad in the comments. But back to what I was saying. Stop thinking that, you know, you got to have his agreement, his cosign in order for you to be an adult, the bigger person, and move on. No, you don't. You don't need his approval. You don't know. You don't need to send this to his desk. You can heal from his harm without giving him the satisfaction of know that you're healing. Real forgiveness is your peace, not his redemption story or his redemption opportunity. So like when you forgive him, it's not because he's got to prove that he's sorry. It ain't got nothing to do with like that. It's because carrying anger is like drinking poison and expecting him to suffer. That's why you forgive a man. So to forgive is essentially to release that resentment, and you can do that privately. You can process the pain with your therapist or your trusted friends or in a healing community. Like you can heal without giving him a front row seat to your recovery journey. It does not mean that you're being spiteful or petty or any of the above. Forgiveness is to release. Shout out to you, Dawn. I see that you shared. Every word you do not say to him is energy you can reinvest into yourself for some energy person that you wasted energy on. Like the emotional labor of explaining your hurt to a man who caused it is honestly a waste of your premium energy. Your healing happens faster when you're not trying to make your abuser understand your pain. Y'all be putting the wrong things first. Y'all having the wrong things in priority. Veronica, I see you. So instead of spending hours trying to craft the perfect text message to make him feel guilty, use those hours at the gym. Instead of rehearsing confrontation speeches, plan your future out without him. Instead of analyzing what went wrong with him, discover what's going right without him. Straight up. Angela Rowley, Farron, Brenda, thank y'all for sharing. You can forgive him quietly. Don't think this is some kind of thing you gotta pass a test on and by his metrics, or else you're gonna feel like you ain't got no peace about the situation, or he gonna be able to say that you was this, that. No. Well, what if he doesn't know what he did? His confusion about why you went silent is his consequence. It's not your responsibility to clarify. Now, when you're in a relationship, clarity, communication, cool. They're continuously earning that by making progress, by listening, by taking you seriously, by validating you, by holding space for you, by respecting what you have to say. When a person is out of chances and you know that you're done giving them chances, let him wonder why you disappeared. Let him wonder. If he really has crossed that line and you've done your part, discernment time. I'm not saying go ghost on a man and nothing has been wrong up until this point. No, that's not right. I'm talking about those who got you repeating yourself over and over and over and over again. And you feel like it's still your responsibility to clear up any kind of confusion on his end. No, the mystery is his punishment. If he could have heard you right the first time. You don't owe clarity to a man who brought chaos to your life. He's probably confused why you didn't fight for the relationship, why you didn't blow up his phone, why you didn't create the dramatic scene he was expecting. Good. Let him be confused then. Let him sit with that. Your silence is his consequence for treating you poorly. And consequences don't come with instruction manuals. If he wants communication, let his memory of all the times that you already told him what it is that you needed, what it is you wasn't going to tolerate any longer, let that be the communication. Let that rumination be his communication. Stop feeling guilty because you, quote unquote, ghosted the man who treated you like you were invisible when you guys were together. We're not talking about ghosting a man who's done nothing to you. We're not talking about ghosting a man who said, hey, I want to do this the right way, and I want to work with you, and I want to honor you, and I want to make progress, and I just, I want to make sure I'm understanding. He's fighting for that understanding with you. We're not talking about that guy. That's the guy that you talk things through with. You have patience with, cool. But if that man could ignore your needs during a relationship, you can ignore his existence after it. Stop feeling guilty. Disappearing on a man who made you feel unimportant is poetic justice. He ignored your calls. He dismissed your feelings. He treated your presence like an inconvenience. Now, all of a sudden, He mad because he gets to experience what it feels like to be irrelevant. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. The man who made you feel like you didn't matter gets to discover what it's like when you actually don't matter to somebody. Who fault? Yours? No. No. Silent forgiveness protects your energy from being drained by people who don't deserve access to it. Engaging with toxic dudes, even just to get closure, it only exposes you to more toxicity. So you got to be the one to understand and decide that your peace is more valuable than his understanding of why he lost access to it. You got to treat every conversation like, it's a requirement for you to relive trauma, because it is. Like it's a requirement for you to explain obvious wrongs, because that's what it is. Like it's an opportunity to potentially get manipulated back into his nonsense, because it is. Silent forgiveness means you process. It means you heal and move forward without giving him opportunities to gaslight you about your own experience or hoover you back into destruction. That's what silent forgiveness does for you. That's the benefit of it. And as much as no dude's gonna want to admit this, the woman who disappears without an explanation, she's the one that becomes unforgettable to men who thought she was disposable. So your silent exit becomes his loudest lesson about taking good women for granted. That's all the lesson you need to be teaching. Is the one where you show that you learned yours. And if this is very difficult for you, let me say this. It's only because you still have a soul tie there. Again, I talked about this in the beginning, but some people think soul ties do not exist. They do. But there are ways to break a soul tie. And if you have never done the work, if you never executed any strategy, any steps to go and break soul ties, I promise you, it didn't just go away over time. It didn't just go away because you don't care about them no more. That's not a soul tie. A lot of people got soul ties today, and it's affected their dating, their self-esteem, their peace. Like something just ain't right, but they can't put their finger on it. You dating completely different now, and you feel like it's lessons learned, but it's really bitterness, guard up, walls up, and that's all from a soul tie with somebody who don't have access to you no more. You may have gone no contact with them, but it don't do you no good to go no contact if spiritually you have not flushed them out of your system. So you can truly get that clean slate back, get your peace back. I went in depth on the masterclass, Breaking the Soul Tie. So if you want that breakdown so you can identify if and how many soul ties you got, and more importantly, how to break them completely. It don't take years or even months to do this. You just got to follow the steps. I put the link down here in the comments, but comment the word soul tie. I'll send it to you for free. You don't have to live with no soul tie, and you don't have to risk having one. But back to what I was saying, forgiving him in silence, never speaking to him again, that's one of the highest forms of self-care. Your peace has got to be more valuable to you than his understanding that he's likely been withholding from you on purpose to keep you invested in trying to get him to understand. Your healing has to be more important to you than his redemption. You don't owe a man an explanation who still owes you apologies that he never gave. So don't think of silent forgiveness as avoidance. It's not. It's wisdom. It's protecting your energy from the very man who's proven he'll only waste it. Like I said, let your silence be his consequence and your peace be your victory. If you agree, hit the share button. That's all I ask. Put your money away, find an arrow down here, and share this so somebody else in your timeline can get blessed. No, because how do you break a soul tie, Derrick? I literally put it in a masterclass. Like I don't gatekeep. So you just got to see you as important enough to spend about 45 minutes to an hour to watch the full breakdown of how to break the soul tie. I put it in the masterclass. Comment soul tie, send it to you absolutely free, or click the link that's down here. It's yours. All right. Holla at y'all later. Y'all be good. Peace.